Okay, the lecture here today, I would like to share how to start up our online teaching. A couple of days ago, a teacher asked me how to start online teaching. This reminded me that I started my business 5 years ago. It was really a difficult time. So I have been trying to help teachers to start online teaching all these years. I really like to do that. So for the lecture today, because the time is kind of a rush. If you have any questions, please don't be hesitated. I would really like to help you, but maybe you can add up my line account later, and we could have a further discussion. Okay, so let's see. And my name is Merlin. Really nice to have you over here. Usually, I like to have my handouts under preposition makeup, which means every time when I give the students handouts, they will see the presentation, under the PowerPoint production. The first step of the class will be introduction. And I will play a game with a student, like this game. This is one of the games that I think that it's just not for fun, but the students will learn some English vocabulary as well. But I do know some teachers might encounter that kind of a difficult how can I start this game with my student? For like this one, this is a pair game. So as you can see, this kind of toolbar that is for the writing pad I'm holding right now. This writing pad has been with me for 10 more years. Yes, 10 more years. It's pretty old, maybe older than some of my students, but the quality is pretty stable. Well, for this kind of a function, I will try to write A, B, C, Drew, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and start this game. And student will need to ask me which card I will need to turn it over, like this one. Okay, this is purple, green. So it doesn't make up a pair. So we have to move on until the end. So I'd like to share, this is one way to play a pair game. Of course, as a creative teacher like you, I do believe you have many creative ways. So yeah, if you have any suggestion, maybe we can talk about that later. So yeah, I'm thinking that maybe you're wondering if you don't have a writing pad, what you can do. Yeah, maybe you can make up a chart like what I'm writing ABC Drew 1 2 3 4 5 in advance before the class starts, and let the students know that in this chart you are going to label them, but you don't see that, it's fine, but you know it and I know it. So for both understanding, I think this kind of a game still can go on. Okay, that is only my suggestion. Well, so for the next part, it will be the body part. I know because you are a very talented English teacher, you know what I'm doing right now. So I would like to share. This is the outlook of my presentation, and this is also the form of my handouts. Usually, I will start with an introduction. Like I mentioned earlier, there will be a game, and it comes to the body parts. As we all know, when it comes to when it starts with the introduction part and it comes to the body part, what will be the next? The conclusion part, yes. For the three parts, introduction part, body part, and the conclusion part, which must form a structure of a composition. I have to admit, this is pretty skillful. It's pretty tricky as well. All my students start to learn the structure of a composition when they get in touch with my class. I would like them to know for our listening, speaking, reading, and writing for those 4 steps, 4 fundamental steps of learning English. I would like them to know almost at the end of learning English, when they are prepared, they have to start to write an article, a paragraph, and a composition as well. So why not learn the form and structure in the beginning? So this is my main purpose, why I do this. Of course, that will be suggestion to you. All the teachers have their ways to teach. Maybe you can just directly start from the body part, because all the class only lasts for 15 minutes. But I learned my children English teaching from a preschool, from a kindergarten. This is how they taught me. Usually we'll start up the class with a warm-up. So I still do so. So for the warm-up game, I don't suggest it lasts too long. Maybe within 3 or 5 minutes, that will be enough. And here comes the body part. Today I would like to share how I do the online class. I learned my online teaching from a very famous online teaching company in Taiwan. I gave them some suggestions when I stepped into the company, but unfortunately, most of the advice were not accepted until one meeting that I found out that one of my ideas were accepted in the meeting by a manager, but she didn't ask me my ideas. Well, the reason I'm telling you this because you will see the way I teach online is probably different from you are doing now or what you are going to encounter in the environment, especially in Taiwan. I do like online teaching, and that is also the reason why I take the test and join the doctor program in the university. Okay, and let's come back here. Firstly, I will start from the hardware. Of course, you have a computer, you have a notebook, or some teachers might only have cell phones. Yeah, these days I'm trying to have my student. One of my students that his family doesn't want to offer him any computer or advanced computer or a qualified computer. And the only thing he could have in my class is from the cell phone. So that would be something that I'm thinking, because I'm also teaching some students from very poor environments in Taiwan. With another teacher, she's Joyce. She's a very pretty nice teacher. We both work together for the poor students. Well, because those students, they have their computers from the school. But what if the students, they don't have anything, like the student I mentioned? Well, so that could be an issue. Let me share the other issue and other topic about the cell phone. Maybe some other day, if we have time, I can share you something more. This is how we do it. I try to have the material on Word. I mean, the Word, the paper, the document from Microsoft, the formula. And try to enlarge it in vertical way. Like a PowerPoint, usually we have it in flat way. So I try to have a Word, have my material on Word, and try to enlarge it as big as possible. So the students with a cell phone could see the questions, the material very clearly. Okay, that is how I have done with cell phone so far. For the network, it plays a very important role. Nowadays, the network, the bandwidth is getting bigger and bigger. So it's quite nice to hear that, because I still remember in the beginning of when I tried to build up the network environment. The Chonghua telephone company told me that at my home we couldn't use that kind of a bandwidth as big as like 300 megabyte. At that time, some people, they do use 300 megabyte bandwidth. That is really fast. But according to the Chonghua Telecom, they say, oh, no, you cannot use that. I was kind of frustrated. And till maybe 1 year later, they call me that and say, okay, now you can apply for that. Yeah. So network really plays a very important role. Usually, not only the bandwidth you need to worry about, but what is in the network really matter. Like I have the three things. Those are three things are the main things. Of course, you have to combine the other things, but according to what you would like to have for your students in your class. Usually, I have a Facebook to tell, or to announce, or to promote my class. And Line is a kind of a communication, and it gives us a very prompt communication. And YouTube, it's not that YouTube plays a kind of a very interactive or very vivid material as well. Nowadays, I use YouTube as a kind of a promotion. I have one student. She knows me when she was in what that place. There was a country in Europe. I don't remember the name. Yeah, but she saw the video on my YouTube, and she asked me if I'm still teaching online. Yeah, so that could be a chance. So at least I think as an online teacher, you should try to be familiar with Facebook, Line, and YouTube. These three websites belong to different companies, and try to combine these things all together, make yourself to teach online as possible. And you might need a headset as well. If you use a notebook, that should be fine. Yeah, and if you use a computer, you might need speakers as well. Writing pad, that could be optional. I have tried some other writing pads, but it's not so useful as the writing pad I'm using. So I know some teachers know Google Meet. On Google Meet, you have a Jamboard. That could be a kind of a writing pad to communicate with the students too. Another suggestive software might be like Paint. Yeah, I know this is really, I don't know how to put that word, but usually I don't suggest you use Paint or Point to Face either. If that is possible, you could use writing pad. Of course, if you have a interactive thing that is a touchpad, but it costs a lot. Of course, if you have a higher budget, you can use that. It should be fine. I know some teachers they might use a whiteboard and have a camera in front of the whiteboard. That could be something too. Or if you like to just write down some words, your material on a paper, and the student could see you through the camera. That should be fine too. So you see, it's so interesting. Some teacher might even use a projector. You can see, I can name and so on, so many things. Point to Face is one thing that I know from the last company that suggests teachers to use Point to Face. So I'm going to paste this website in our chatting box. So if you like to download it, you can try. This is pretty handy, useful, but not so fluently. When I use it, I don't think it brings me much joy or fluency in my class. But it could be something. I have to say it's better than Paint from Microsoft, but the most useful thing will be writing pad. Okay, so if you don't have anything, I know some teachers might use Word, Microsoft Word, to communicate with students. That could be something. That could be something. You don't have to draw things on the screen to make them understood. And here comes the tool from Skype or from Google Meet. Those are the two things many teachers use. The reason I didn't type Zoom because it's very controversial here nowadays in Taiwan. And besides, I'm not very familiar with Zoom either. Usually when I teach, I will have a Skype as priority. And usually if we have some problems, like maybe the connection is poor, and I will have students and of course me, and we both go to Google Meet. Yeah, so Google Meet might be a plan B, a supplementary tool for you. And the third thing I would suggest you use it are AdBlock and AdGuard. I don't know if you know this. If you don't, these things are pretty useful. You can see from Google. You see you can download it for free. AdBlock and AdGuard. You can try to see. If you can do it now, we can do a comparison, and you will see for those two things. Okay, let me type it down, paste it in our chatting box right now. So maybe you can try it to see how useful they are. Because we all want us to be professional. So, you know, if you try to if you try to go to Yahoo, maybe you can go to Yahoo, the homepage right now, and you'll see your page is probably not very similar as mine. My page probably looks.
Hello, sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, that's fine. Welcome, Mariam. And yeah, it's more clear on Yahoo page. And you can see if you don't have ad block or ad guard, you probably have 35 more advertisements than I have right now. Because my ad block had plus 35 advertisements. This is very important. This app can make you more professional teacher. Imagine your students having class on maybe either website. Speaking about the website, I have most of my materials from some websites, which I think are very useful. So the student will surf the website very often. So imagine what if they are having your class and some advertisement is flashing on the sites. It's pretty distractive. So I suggest teachers, as a professional teacher like you are, maybe you would like to use ad block and ad guard in your class. Those are the things I just practice, and you can see those two useful apps over here. Here comes a class. Once you start your class, you might need to put the student into your schedule, remind you, okay, during the time you are going to have the class. Usually I use Google Calendar. It's pretty useful. And don't forget to plus the student Skype and the Line account. Like I say, the Line account helps you to communicate in a faster way. And don't forget to confirm your headset, computer, anything, the hardware, the software are all ready. And if you like to make it in a very tight, very clean way, organized way, usually I have all my students in their selves files. So, and in the file, I will have the handouts, I will have the notes after the classes. And sometimes I will, one more thing, I will have the reports for them. My students will have the reports after a period of 10 classes. So, and of course, I will give them the receipt. Yeah. 2行政师爱上英文 is registered in our government. So I will give them a receipt with the numbers, the register number from government. So that makes yourself professional too. Even I have to admit, most of my students come from parents, students, we call it mouth brain. Seldom of them are coming from the websites, but still, if you could register your school class on the government, it's kind of a protection, professionalism. And I will be online 10 minutes ago before class. So like today, I every day I open Skype and Line when my computer is ready. So Yeah, so be ready, and yeah, that would be something too. Um, and when you are ready, usually I will key in a smiley or key hi, and but I don't enter it. Before when the time is up and at the exact time, I would enter the smiley or hi to student. But I don't know, these days I have something coming into my mind that why I have to start the class at the exact time. There is no need and there is no proper reason. So these days, when I think I'm ready, I give the student a smiley and say hi to them. If they are ready to, we can start the class at any time. Just like you remember when the class starts, before this class starts, we step into the classroom and we say hi to a student. We talk to them. Yeah, I think the even the class is online, we still can share our greetings with the students before the class starts. And when we finish our class, yeah, we just hanging out, and that will could be and on Skype, where it shows the time, duration, and it shows a kind of record for both understanding too. Um, and I will record the class, and I will pass the notes to line. And so for the record and the messages, the notes online could be a kind of record for students, parents, and teachers too. So I think that for the students level, I just skip it. I think teachers all know this. Material will be a very big issue. I would like to share next time. For the last part, in the beginning of my business running, many teachers, when they heard that I do the class, the handouts with a PowerPoint, most of them were kind of scared. Should I don't know if I should have put that word scared, or they don't want to do that. I can understand. Even in my situation, in my experience, I learned how to make up a presentation when I taught in a college. Before that time, I seldom had a chance to, to use PowerPoint. So, but yeah, like I say, how to make yourself professional or even more professional. Presentation could be something. Yeah, I do enjoy doing that. This is something from my last company, and they asked teacher to do this, but I have to say, this is nonsense, because as a teacher, we are all human beings. The class could be flexible, but I had to admit in the beginning, when I run online English teaching, I try to follow up these rules. But the more I teach, the more I think those things are really nonsense. Like I say, we don't have to be in class at the exact time. Yeah, the students and we are all human beings. We can be flexible, and I do know the students can feel your warmth, your warmth from your teaching. This could be a very good question So what if student calls over 10 minutes before class starts? Could I get payment too? Yeah, payment really plays a very important role. But these years, I have an idea. If we really pay too much emphasis on our payments, on our time, on how much efforts we pay to the students, they will understand it. They know it. They feel it. So do the parents. If we really pay too much attention on our payment, our time, our efforts, in my experience, those students will not stay long. So my students, they have been my students for many years. Some students start their class from elementary school all the way to university time. Yeah, they trust me, and I do enjoy teaching those students. So I think as a very friendly, professional, warm-hearted teacher like you, there are some more things we need to pay more attention to. I think I have already answered this or share my idea with this question. This is a kind reminder when an online teacher you like to teach before class. Turn off cell phone. Mostly, I have to admit, I forget to turn off the cell phones, and yes, on computer too. And yeah, I do. I'm interrupted by the messages, cell phone ringtones, or things like that. To interrupting, they interrupt into my classes. But I do think the students they do understand, so it should be fine. It should be fine. So if you don't really, but if you don't still remember to turn off your cell phone, I think just admit it and ask the student to stop for the class for a while and then make it up later. It should be fine. Yeah, I have open line club, so be ready. Turn on writing pad and smiley on Skype. And okay, and for the last part of our body, I mean the body parts, this will be the last thing I would like to remind. Most of our teachers might teach in school, a class of maybe 10 more students. Usually I will ask the student to turn off their microphone, and I even made up a sign like this one. So I will just show this, and and we don't need to yell. We don't need to ask them to turn off their microphones. We have to be professional. Remember that. So we just show this sign, and all the students know it. So they just turn off their microphones, and that will be your classroom. And that is a very important classroom management. Okay, for the last part. So if you are satisfied with my sharing today, maybe you can go to the website and or YouTube, Facebook as well, and Google to give me your advice, and subscribe to our YouTube as well. And for the last part, for the line, that is something that I would like to share with teacher. This is my line ID because you are on Skype today. I created a teacher club, so if you like to join me, you are very welcome. I do really need your suggestion, your advice. Yeah, because we are all learning for online teaching. Even we could way back to year 2000, but it's still very fresh, very young. I think like me, even I have taught online English teaching for five more years, 6 years, but I'm still learning. So if you could join our teacher club, that would be my honor. Okay, thank you very much for your time. So if you have any question, you can just plus my line ID. I'm very pleased to answer any of your questions. Thank you. Goodbye. I hope I have a chance to see you next time. We have one more lecture, and next time I will share how to present yourself to be more professional and share how to make up the materials. Thank you and goodbye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Is that the end of today?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have recorded the class, so I will post it on our YouTube. If you like to listen to it, that will be fine.
YouTube or will be on the Line group?
YouTube and Line groups as well.
Okay, can you post that the YouTube data or that website
Yes, sure.
for us?
Sure, right now. Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.